Now we finally get to talk about defense. I've left myself very little time and I'm running out. So we're going to go through this a little bit more quickly than I'd like, but I think that we'll get some of the key individual fundamentals of defense in zone and some of the team aspects of where in each zone we're looking for blocks. Hopefully this will make sense given.
هيتكلم هنا بس بسرعة عن الديفنس، الزون ديفنس، من وجهة نظر الفريق ومن وجهة نظر اللعيبة. ايه الحاجات اللي اللعيبة لازم تعملها بصرف النظر عن التشكيلة، وايه الحاجات اللي من وجهة نظر الفريق لازم يعملها، او ايه الهدف من كل تشكيلة سواء بيلعب 3-3-1، 4-2-1، ايا كان. فبنبص لها من وجهة نظر الفريق، وبنبص لها من وجهة نظر اللعيبة. في كل التشكيلات في حاجات لازم تتعمل، ودي بالنسبة لي في الفيديو ده هو الأهم، دي اللي عايزين نركز عليها أكتر.
What we said that the offense wants to do. Okay, my offense is going to be in blue, and I'll put them in any old formation here. It doesn't really matter. And defensively, I'm going to focus on the front players to start. There are a couple of key fundamentals. And I know I've said this before, but the formation is not nearly as important as what the players do. And these are things that we want all of our players to do all the time. The first is turning your head. Now, defenders I'm noting as this line, and that line is the shoulder line. So that this defensive player can see here without moving. And that makes sense because they're mostly going to be looking at the disc. Probably 90% of the time, every player on the field during a zone should be looking at the disc, with very, very rare exceptions. That's embarrassing. Okay. As the disc moves, so let's have the disc go from here to here, and this player is starting to look in this direction. This defender needs to do a couple of things, and the first is they need to get their vision going this direction, even for a split second. So as they start to move, they're taking a look over the shoulder. It takes very little to see where this player is and where this player is. Even if you only see them for a split second, if you're this defender, you take that flashing look and you'll go to the line that you want. If you don't look, you may run to that same spot, and now you've opened up an easy offensive lane. Or you may not get there, so you spend a lot of time running and chopping your steps and coming back to the disc, but you're still allowing the throw that we were hoping that you would somehow stop. Turning your head is crucial. We say that every player on the field has to turn their head on every throw, and well, I feel like I'm not dogmatic about ultimate. There's many right ways to play the game. If you don't turn your head on every throw, in every position except for the deepest, you're doing it wrong. You must turn and look at the things around you. When you feel like, oh, our zone defense isn't working, it's often because you have a player in a key situation that is not turning their head. While they're doing this here, this player can be coming over and looking here, looking for those threats that might be here or might not. If there's no player there, it tells this player that they can come in and find something more dangerous. Without that look, you don't know what's going on behind you. And you can get your players to develop that in small drills where you throw the disc from one to the other and you have them adjust. That offensive player goes to one of two positions. They look and they find that offensive player. You've got to do this at every position. So as that disc leaves this thrower's hands, and the disc is about here, this player should be looking this way, this player should be looking this way, this player should be looking this way. Here, this wing should take a glance. This wing should take a glance. I've heard players ask me, where should I look? I don't care. But you've got to look behind you, one shoulder or the other. Okay, so that's one, is turn your head.
طيب هو هنا بيتكلم باختصار عن إنه كل البوزيشنز في الملعب بصرف النظر عن التشكيلة ايه لازم تبص وراك امتى بعد كل باس. يعني والباس بيطلع لازم من اي بوزيشن في الملعب تبص وراك. تبص فين مش فارقة، المهم انك تشوف ايه اللي بيحصل وراك علشان تبقى عارف هتتحرك فين وتقفل انهي لين. آه، اخر حاجة مهمة هنا ان احنا نعرف انه لو ما بتبصش وراك فانت بتلعب ديفنس زون غلط، وغالبا هيكون ده السبب اللي مخليك لو حاسس ان الزون بتاعتنا بايظه، فهو هيكون ده السبب بتاعها مش التشكيله، على قد ما انت مش عارف بتقفل ايه وبتتحرك وخلاص. فدايما لازم نبص ورانا في كل البوزيشنز ما عدا الديب ديب، عشان تبقى عارف انت عايز تقفل ايه او تروح بسرعه قد ايه على الديسك.
On every throw. Secondly, we'd like to move together. So as this disc starts to move across, we want all three of these players to make this move, which means that no single player should be sprinting at 100% full speed. We want the formation to move together. If you have one very, very fast player playing point in this cup, they may run out here while your slow, stodgy midfielder here isn't able to get with that same rate of pace, and then you've opened up a hole. Or from the same side, you might have a very quick middle of the cup, and if they're catching this player, you're not covering as much as you could be. So you want to move together, that when you get there, the holes are covered and people have information. Zones typically don't get blocks by raw speed, they get it by some kind of coordination. So move.
تاني حاجة إن إحنا نتحرك الفرونت لاين يتحرك مع بعضه، وبيقول إن البلوكس بتحصل لما يكونوا متفقين هما بيعملوا إيه، مش إن إحنا بنجري بسرعة وخلاص. فما ينفعش إن إحنا نجري بسرعة على حساب إن إحنا نتحرك كواحدة واحدة. فكر دايما في الشخص اللي قدام ده، في التلاتة اللي قدام دول، إن هما شخص واحد كبير بيتحرك، فمش هينفع جزء منه يتحرك وجزء لأ.
Together. There's some pretty clear lines of communication. If this is our defensive front, we want these players talking to each other, and the player that you can best talk to is the one whose back you can see, which is also good because you have the information that they most need. So we'll have these lines of communication. And in this standard 3-3-1, this player will be talking here. This player will be talking here. This player can talk some of that maybe. This player can talk here. This player can talk here, and especially talking there. The information can flow from farther away to the disc to nearer to it, but that can help. Even if you turn your head as the disc is thrown, you can't always be looking behind you. And this could be the subtle difference here between the defender taking away a lane that's being looked at and just standing in the middle. At the same time, this player can say middle cup left, they're left, and they can adjust to come over to the right. Now we've covered 1, 2, 3, 4 lanes instead of double covering a lane. And typically our communication is something along the lines of Josh right. And you say Josh right, and Josh knows he takes 2 steps to the right before he thinks about it. I had a college teammate named Josh Greeno, who if you yelled at him, Josh bid left, he would leave his feet. And often you could steer him into blocks because he is willing to trust whatever's behind him. Okay.
هنا في الكوميونيكيشن بيتكلم زي ما انتوا شفتوا طبعا مين بيكلم مين، الاوردر اللي ورا بيتكلم اللي قدام. بس في حاجه كمان مهمه قوي، السايد لاين لازم بيتكلم الناس دي كلها. يعني الديب بيكلم اللي قدامه، والميدز بيكلم اللي قدامه، الوينجات بتكلم البوتشرز، بس السايد لاين بيكلم الناس كلها. وممكن كمان نعمل حاجه زي ان احنا ناساين كل واحد بره لواحد جوه بيلعب. فده الاوردر بتاع الكوميونيكيشن، مين بيكلم مين. مهم قوي نعرف برضو بنقول ايه، فبنتكلم مثلا يمين شمال، ارجع اطلع دروب. ممكن الوينجات يكلموا بعض، او يعني الميد يكلم الوينجات بوش بول، على حسب عايزين نتحرك فين. ممكن لو احنا باصين لبعض نشاور. فالكوميونيكيشن مش بس كلام، ممكن يكون بالاشاره لو احنا شايفين بعض. اخر حاجه مهمه قوي هنا في موضوع الكوميونيكيشن، ان احنا لما بنسمع حاجه مش بنقيمها. يعني احنا بننفذ وبعدين نفكر. قليل قوي رير كيسز لما ابدا اقيم الاوردر اللي جاي لي واشوف هعمله ولا لا. بس في العادي انا بسمع، بنفذ على طول، وواثق ان الاوردر اللي بيتقال لي هو الصح. علشان ما بقاش بس واقف في النص، انا ممكن اللي ورايا يقول لي تعالى يمين، هو يروح شمال عشان نقفل باسز اكتر. دول بس الثلاث حاجات اللي انا كنت عايز نعرفهم المره دي للكونسبتس اللي ليها علاقه باللعيبه individually، اللي هو turn your head في كل باس، ودي اهم حاجه. تاني حاجه ان احنا نتحرك از يونت اللي قدام، الثلاثه اللي قدام او ايا كان العدد اللي قدام. واخر حاجه الكوميونيكيشن. في بقى حاجه مهمه، انه في الزون لازم نبقى عارفين الجول ده ده اللي هنتكلم عنه في حته التيم. بس باختصار كده، كل فورميشن لازم ابقى عارف ايه الجول منها قبل ما اعرف هي ترتيبها ازاي. يعني قبل ما اعرف هي 3 3 1 ولا 4 2 1 ولا 3 1 3 ولا ايا كان، لازم ابقى عارف ايه الجول منها، وايه اللي بقى الاوت، يعني ايه الباسات اللي انا بسمح بيها تحصل، وايه الباسات اللي انا مش بسمح بيها، والبلوكس بتيجي فين. فاحنا ان شاء الله هنتمرن على 2 زونز، ومنهم فاريشنز كتير، بس محدش يقلق ان احنا فاريشنز دي ممكن تلخبط، لانه طول ما احنا عارفين الجول هتلاقي الموضوع سهل جدا.
So these are some things that we want to do individually. Turning our head on every throw, moving together, allowing tight windows instead of being too bunched up, being unpredictable, faking on defense, and communicating.